The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, hello everybody and welcome to our webinar this afternoon. I hope you haven't had too much difficulty connecting into the system. Welcome. Yes, some of you may have joined some of our webinars in the past, and this one we're going to learn about two examples of partners' work in different parts of the world, in Slovakia and in Brazil. So we're going to have, first of all, two presentations, and then we will have an opportunity for some question and answers. We will keep this to an hour, and we will have, if you have Skype on, if you could mind switching it off, because sometimes it interferes with the system. And also, if you have any questions, you'll see there's a little question panel in the box. Please feel free at any stage to write the questions in, and I will put them to our panelists. So without further ado, we will get started. So I'm Jenny Hodgson, and I'm Executive Director of the Global Fund for Community Foundations. And I wanted to say a couple of words about why we're doing this webinar. Over the past couple of years, we've been running a grants and learning program on community foundations and how they engage with young people, often as key stakeholders in their communities. So we've done a series, we've made grants, we've had a couple of convenings, and we've used webinars as well. And we really see these webinars as an opportunity to share experiences within the field and to strengthen links between organizations. So if you hear something you like on this webinar, you must feel free to contact Lubitzer or Anderson. We really want to kind of encourage these sort of foundation-to-foundation relationships. So we're going to have the two presentations. We will be recording this, so it will be available as a YouTube piece afterwards. And we will also write up some of the outcomes of this webinar. So if you ask a question and we don't have time to answer it, then we will try and capture your question and the answer to it in the longer written document. And finally, before we kind of get into it, we're really very open to thinking about how we can expand and continue this learning within the community foundation and community philanthropy field. So if you have a brilliant idea for a webinar, or if you would like to organize a smaller discussion or something that's more interactive, please feel free to contact us. And we have this webinar program, and we're very open to helping people to use it to facilitate some linkages. So please feel free. At the end of the webinar, you will have an opportunity to do a quick evaluation. You will receive an email. And so if you have any thoughts or ideas, please feel free to reach out to us. So I'd like to introduce our two presenters today. We're going to start with a presentation from Anderson, who comes from ECOM in Florianopolis, Brazil. And then after that, he's going to talk about a quite young, emerging youth program that's developed over the last couple of years. And then after that, we're going to hear from Lubitzer from the Nitra Community Foundation, where they've been working with young people for quite a period of time. But before we do that, I'd just like to get a sense of who we've got listening here. So I'm just going to ask a quick question to you all, if you wouldn't mind responding. You should see coming up onto your screen any moment a poll asking about who you are, what type of institution you are. If you wouldn't mind filling that in, I'll keep it open for a few more seconds, and just so that we know, so Anderson and Lubitzer at least know who they're talking to, and because it's interesting for us. Okay, I can see you filling in. So those of you who have just joined us, you're very welcome to our webinar. We're just doing a quick poll in order to see who's on our conversation today. Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm going to give it another 10 seconds, so if you haven't ticked a box, please do so, and then we'll see who we've got here. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Thank you. Now, is that... No, you should be able to see that on your screen. So we've got can you see that? Can somebody tell me if they can see that? Anderson and Luba, can you see the poll?
Yes.
You can. Okay,
Yes,
and you can
I
see the
see.
results. Can you see the results as well?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Just wanted to check. So we've got quite a lot of community foundations already working with young people, a few thinking about it, a few community foundations but not with a youth program, and some others who are just interested generally. So that's great. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Anderson now. So if you just bear with us a second. Anderson, I'm handing over to you. Please go ahead. Yes.
Hello, can everybody see my screen? Yeah, Jenny?
Not yet. I still have the poll. Okay, hang on. I have to do something. Just bear with me a second. Okay. Now we should be handing over to your screen. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good morning for those in Brazil. Good afternoon for those in other places else. My name is Anderson. I'm Executive Director in ICOM, and I just would start talking a little bit about ICOM, the organization I'm part of. ICOM was the second community foundation established in Brazil. It was established in 2005, and with the mission of promoting community development, connecting, mobilizing, supporting donors and non-profit organizations working in the communities. So Brazil has a very sophisticated social field. I'd say we have very well-established community-based organizations, which we are calling here NGOs or non-profit. So we have local-based organizations working very well. So that's why the idea of ICOM is connect them and help them to improve their work and connect them with donors and philanthropists and people that want to contribute with money or time. The main activities of ICOM is to provide technical and financial support for NGOs, to promote the culture of philanthropy in the region we operate, which is Florianopolis and neighboring cities, and the production and dissemination of knowledge and citizenship, by offering information about how the city is doing, what things have to be improved in terms of public policies and so on. So Connecta is the object of our conversation here today. It's a game online that's available on Facebook for everybody, and the idea of Connecta is to provide a platform where youngsters can think about their community and get to know a little bit more about the challenges that we have in the region where we live. And how did we get there? So ICOM worked with youngsters since 2007 on funds to promote social entrepreneurship. And then it was a very, very successful program, also with the support of the Global Fund for Community Foundations, and we managed to work with 300 youngsters that were establishing social initiatives to improve their community. And that's when we start to think about this public as agents that could help us to reach our mission, which is to promote community development. And we did the operation of this fund by helping NGOs and community-based organizations that already work with this public. So the idea is ECOM doesn't work directly with the youngsters, but we improve the work of those organizations at the communities which have the contact and have the ability to work directly with those youngsters close to their homes. And the idea of applying for being part of this youth civic engagement program in at the Global Fund was to start working with youngsters that are from higher income families, to encourage them to contribute by giving. This was our first idea, as we believe that the NGOs in the community are already doing a good work with those disadvantaged youngsters. An opportunity for us as Community Foundation would be to work with higher income families, youngsters, you know. So this was the first idea. We started to research about how to get to talk to these people, how to bring them together, what kind of program would attract them to understand a little bit more about the needs of the field and how could they engage by donating or assessing their social networks in order to bring resources to deal with projects that they think are important for the community. And then we did the benchmarking, and all those logos you can see here are from organizations we got in touch with, and we got inspiration and information to build up from there. So we have Instituto Geração, IESEC, all youth banks, which are an amazing movement that are being led by community foundations everywhere, and other initiatives, local initiatives that helped us to get to the place where we are now. During this phase, this stage of research, we had that meeting of the YCE program of Community Foundation in Cluj, and from those discussions there, we got encouraged to let the youth decide how is the best way for them to promote civic engagement. So we went back to those youth-led organizations like IESEC and other local organizations and asked them to reflect, to think how to get in touch with those youngsters. And they form a youth committee, and at that point we left apart the idea of working exclusively with higher income families, youngsters from higher income families, and work with the youth that were interested in doing something. And well, we formed this youth committee inside ECOM, and then we started a program on social innovation, which is Social Good Brazil. And from the inspiration of that program and the youth committee, we got to the idea of Connecta, which is again online, is use of technology for social change. Also, the fact that we are working with youngsters and working with technology, it was very interesting for some local partners, and the input of the Global Fund through the YCE program, we managed to leverage national and local partnerships to make it happen. So we have these organizations and companies that went on board with the youth committee to build up Connecta. And now Leo is going to talk a little bit how was the process of creating the game. Leo is the person in ECOM that is leading this youth committee and is helping the group to take to go for that decision making.
Hi everybody. I work with the committee, as Anderson said. So the committee first thought about creating a demo version of the game, and it was restricted to 40 players. And so by that we could understand understand what the players wanted from the game, from this social game. And as I said, it was restricted to 40 players, and after the experiment, the game, they gave us feedbacks and suggestions that basically we used to create the version 1.0, which is this screen here. and it's, as you see, it's much colorful and it's more attractive to the player than the other one, and it has a big relation with our regional map and as Florianopolis, because Florianopolis it is an island, and it has a bridge and this part of the continent, and so we wanted to bring this relation with a city to make the player identify himself with the game and with the region that he lives. The questions in the game are basically surrounded by health and education and political activism and transport or urban mobility and environment. So basically how to play is very simple, and you have 10 questions per session, and after those 10 questions you can promote a connector partner and get 2 more tries to play the game. And basically the main goal, the main objective of the game is to make the map more beautiful, because the first screen that shows is very ugly and very polluted and very, it's very dirty. So basically the main goal of the game is to make the map more beautiful. And the player are also encouraged to share his achievements in his Facebook account, and depending on his performance, trophies and points are given, right? And also in the bottom of the screen, as you can see your friends and how many points they have. Also to the process of the communication of Connecta, it was online by our online networks, and also offline. We made a flash mob in the biggest shopping mall here in Florianopolis, and about 40 young persons were involved in that action, and it was a great success for us, and it was very nice. We have also a video on YouTube, but I guess we don't have time enough to show this video. And also we're playing the Giving Circle, but I guess Anderson can explain better about it.
So what are the outcomes of Connecta so far? So far we got about 360 players. This is an account since November 2012 when we launched the game. We have non-profit organizations are the core of the mission, so the missions are about the non-profit, what they are doing, so we are somehow communicating, disseminating the good work the organizations are doing in our community. We have players that are between the age of 18 and 34 years old, the majority of them. If you think about youngsters like my age, from 34 to 44, we have like 90% or 95% of the players are youngsters. Both genders, and what's important for us is that the majority of the access are from Brazil, and from those, they are from here, from the city and the region where we live. And this is something that we are very careful about in order to really be able to measure how is the future impact of the initiatives that came from the group that's playing Connected to promote community development locally. And the reflections we are having now, we are thinking a lot, because the game was just launched. Even if we are thinking about this program since the beginning of 2011 and coming and going and trying to find a good way to work, our worries here are in how ICOM as a community foundation can help the organizations that have this core competence of working with youngsters. How can we improve and help them to get better to their mission, instead working directly with the youngsters, because nobody knows better the neighborhoods than the organizations that are there, working there every day And as we are local, we can be in touch with them every time. We can talk to them very closely, and we can help them to install locally the capability to improve their community, and youngsters are involved in that. Instead, Econ working with the community as a whole. It's 1 million people living here in the greater Florianopolis, and it would be impossible for us to reach directly. Impossible, no, but maybe it's not the best strategy for us to work straight with the youngsters in projects, but maybe bringing the youngsters to help us to think how to help the organizations that are there for them. So what we are thinking about is how connect them as a project, as an initiative, helps Econ to get more, to get better recognized in the community. Thinking about promotion of philanthropy, technical and financial support to NGOs, and production and dissemination of knowledge. In which of these line of actions Connector can be better put in order to help country strengthen its identity, as we are a quite young organization. And yes, we are thinking if we have the best organization to manage the game itself, if it would not be better to ask this youth committee to find out if there is another NGO that would make a better use, a more deep use of the game to promote youth civic engagement in our region. And how can we improve the process of getting this online movement to an offline community engagement? And that's what the Giving Circle is going to promote in our point of view. It's a way of inviting youngsters to donate and inviting them to do something, even if it's in a small scale, for their community. So we are thinking ourselves if cyber activism is enough. And that's our presentation, what we want to share with you. And we are available to answer all your questions and share with you our doubts as well. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks so much, Anderson. It's the question that was on my mind was the one that you asked at the end, which is how do you move people from online platforms to real spaces? Before we move on to, maybe we can come back to this sort of at the end when we put these two presentations together. A couple of very quick questions. One around how did you get the funding for the program itself, who helped with that specifically, and also when you were originally looking for the higher income groups, the young people in the higher income groups, where were you looking? Was it schools or colleges or churches? If you wouldn't mind answering those couple of questions, and then we'll turn over to hear about the Slovak experience.
Okay, about funding, we have, let me just go back to the presentation here. We have two main partners, which is Telefónica, Fundação Telefónica Vivo, and Instituto CIA. Those two company foundations, they are also partners of Social Good Brazil, which is a program here in ECO that look for promoting the use of technology and social media and innovative thinking to promote social change. And they found in the youth committee ideas and Connect an opportunity to test if this kind of tool would be a good one for us to reach this audience and get them engaged. And this is the curiosity of these two investors, donors, and it's paying off when you think about the capacity the game has to mobilize. With very few communication and just using our social networks, we've got almost 400 people playing. The others, Physical Games, Marca, and Beira-Mar Shopping are companies, local companies that actually Physical Games built the game with us, and Marca was the communication agency that helped us to develop the image of the game. The shopping center where we do the flash mob are organizations that come with supporting kind. Local organizations that are very helpful. They were and they are being very helpful for us to put the Connector online and to think about the game for the next steps. And the other part of the question was about the higher class. The first idea was to get them by the social network of our board members. So we had a program in 2011 where we put together monthly in a room a group of the most successful entrepreneurs and families, wealthy families of the city, to talk about what is going on in the social field, to sensibilize and help them to think about how can be their participation to change things here. And the first idea was to target the sons and daughters of those families. And we have some difficulties to reach those youngsters because of the moment of their lives. They were thinking about their professional careers or university, or they didn't really have the support of the family to engage in a new endeavor like this one in Florianopolis, and we would not have the volume of people enough to start something that would be manageable, relevant, maybe 2 or 3 people, but it was not the design we thought. Then we found other organizations that did the same in regions as São Paulo and Porto Alegre, which are huge cities, and they have the volume of people working. So for them, and we thought, for those youngsters in Florianopolis, they could as well go to São Paulo and participate in the same program there, which is well established, and they will find peers and they would feel motivated to do this kind of program. Is this answer your question, Jenny?
Great, yes, thank you. So, I mean, I think it's really interesting that your initial idea about meeting young people with wealth in a certain place just didn't work out, and how this has sort of found a different way in to young people of different kinds, you know, both more wealthy and less wealthy, as a strategy. So I think it's a really interesting example of a kind of learning by doing kind of thing. I'm going to hand over. I can see there are a couple of other questions, but in the interests of time and fairness, I'm going to now hand over. Thank you so much, Anderson and Leo. For those of you who are listening, please do feel free to continue to write in your questions. We will try and incorporate those into the final kind of written version of this webinar that we will write up. But for now, I'm going to hand over to Ljubica from Nitra Community Foundation. So you should see the screen moving over to her.
Hi, everybody. Hello?
Hi, yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
So we can't see your screen yet.
Okay. Hello,
now
everybody.
We can.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Luba from Slovakia is speaking. Let me first to introduce Slovakia, because we are a very small country. You know, I expect that anybody knows where is Brasilia, but Slovakia is not so well known. So we are in the situated in the central of Europe, and as in the other post-communistic countries, building of civil society belongs to the biggest challenges. Currently, more than 31,400 NGOs operate in our country, and 8 community foundations belong to the most important NGOs in Slovakia. We are grouped in our association, which helps us to fill a unique role in their community, accumulate a knowledge of our community's needs, to build partnership with donors, and as well to disseminate the ideas of global giving. What I wanted to tell you is that all members of our association, it means all community foundations, have established own young philanthropists groups. Nitra Community Foundations serves to community living in the Nitra region with the capital Nitra. And region is oriented mainly in the agriculture and food processing. Big boom of car industry in Slovakia caused development of this area in our region as well. Our region has a very rich history. It's very colorful regarding of nationalities living in our region, and big share of Hungarians and Roma population live here. Nitra is also called City of Young People. We have 2 universities and several secondary schools. What is a big challenge of our current time is a high portion of unemployment, mainly unemployment of young people. And now, quickly to our organization. Mission of the Nitra Community Foundation is to improve a quality of life in the Nitra region based on development of local philanthropy and volunteerism. Its main priority is to develop relations with local donors, individual as well as corporative ones. And we are strictly focused on grant-making activities. We offer our grants to active civics. It means we are, our targeted group is composed from active civics who would like to help their community in broad range of activities. Our fundraising is oriented mainly in local resources based on cooperation with corporations as well as individual donors. And now to our topic. Our young Nitra philanthropists, you can see them on these pictures, a group of active and nice people. This program belongs to the most important one, and we started to realize it before 9 years. The first stimulus to start this program came based on cooperation with the Winnipeg Foundation from Canada. When I had the opportunity to visit Canada, I was really impressed with their program Youth in Philanthropy. And afterwards, a father of Youth Bank mission, Vernon Ringland, came to Slovakia, and we had the opportunity to spend together time on his training. And he provoked us till a moment we decided to jump into and start this program on nationwide basis. What we really recognize is that for our community are young people who perceive values of local philanthropy and volunteerism incredibly important. And one of the best ways how to learn them about philanthropy is to give them the opportunity to be personally involved to the process. It is very important mainly this time in which majority of young people have to answer challenges of consuming style of life as well as challenges joined with very slow social cohesion. So young people who are currently involved to the group of young Nitra philanthropists help their families, colleagues, classmates, and other people to understand better a role of philanthropy in the community. You can see that our group works hard for 4 seasons of the years. It means program is based on the Youth Bank models, and it is based on peer principles. What does it mean? Young Nitra philanthropists, as a group of volunteers, administrate their own grant-making program, in which they support by very small grants projects of their peers from the Nitra region. And by this time, they supported 63 projects by sum of higher than 16,000 euros. What is very important? They administrate all processes of grant making. It means they provide grant call, they provide personal consultancies. They consult in the groups which are supervised. It means older members of the group of young philanthropists supervise the younger colleagues. As well, they provide decision-making process and personal monitoring of the supported projects. So very important is, I will repeat it, they do it by themselves. It is not task of the community foundations. I would like to focus your attention on added value what NITRA version of Youth Bank brought. What is the most important part of the program is we call it personal monitoring of the supported project. It is a part of the program in which people, young group of the NITRA philanthropists will go to visit and help to realize the supported programs of their peers. Our NITRA philanthropists gain the opportunity to visit their grantees and see on own eyes what nice activities they will realize. What is very important, they discover their regional peers who are able to think and act by very similar way. They can know each other better and develop friendships. And what is the result? It is creating of informal cooperative group of active young volunteers of NITRA region. And it is composed on one side from members of young NITRA philanthropists, on the other side from the grantees. And cooperation of young volunteers in the NITRA region goes beyond the grant program. Young active people realize together other common projects. One of the most successful is called Tea House at Young Philanthropists. It is an event which is organized each September, and it is focused on informing public about volunteering and philanthropic activities realized by young people. Young people prepare by themselves a very attractive program every year. For example, it was presentation and discussion with young volunteers who operated abroad in very attractive countries like in Africa, or they prepare for public games and competitions from ecology or sport. They prepare a presentation of healthy style life, etc., etc. Except of Tea House, young volunteers composed from young NITRA philanthropists and supported grantees, they had the opportunities to prepare own video movie. It was called A Year of Young Philanthropists. And in this video, they had the opportunity to present all their activities, and it is very nice. If you will be interested in, you can see this video on YouTube. So I will repeat, the name of video is A Year of Young Philanthropists.
Ljubica, it's also on our website, so you can access, if you go to our website,
okay,
and look for young NITRA philanthropists, you can find it that way too.
Okay. Thanks. I would like to tell you something about how we recruit young people and how they keep them motivated to do this not very easy work. As you all know, that grant making and philanthropy are quite complicated topics, and they are on the first sight not very attractive for young people. And therefore it's not very easy to recruit new members. We as the Community Foundation, we try to add something else and offer something else to young people. And we offer our young philanthropists informal education concerning development of their personal knowledge and skills, for example, in fundraising, public relation, communication, civil participation. We also provide for them the team building trainings every year, in which older members and younger members of the group have the opportunity to meet and to build good relationship. And regular trainings, meetings, and team building activities enable to sustain a really good team. We as the Community Foundation, we promote values like philanthropy and volunteering within all our activities. And we try to learn our young volunteers about these values. And the young Nitra philanthropists teach these values based on, for example, decision-making process which they use in their own grant-making programs. We really don't do it like we tell them about these values. We try to become example for young people in these values, and I think we are quite successful in this. Our young volunteers as well participate in other programs which are realized by Community Foundation, like Club of Donors, Let People to Help People. And maybe one good example of good practice could be that former young philanthropist, a girl who spent several years with this program, became a member of our board now. So we try to provide transition within our programs. What we take as very important for development of Young Nitra Philanthropist program is to develop international contacts with other young volunteers around the world. Young Nitra philanthropists had the opportunities to exchange with other youth bank groups. For example, we have visited a foil group of Northern Ireland in the city Londonderry. As well, we had the opportunity to meet young philanthropists from Czech Republic. This year, we plan to provide youth exchange with young philanthropists from Poland. So, two members of our group had the opportunity to represent young philanthropists in a meeting of Canadian community foundations in Montreal, for example. So, we are an organization which is able to understand what is how necessary are international contacts and exchange of experiences of international base. And we try to do what is in our forces to enable our young philanthropists to exchange their experiences. And we have the main partners. One is Global Fund of for Community Foundations, but we have a very stable partner from a local community, what is foundation, which is established by a big corporation in Slovakia, and we are happy that we are able to keep this foundation to support us. I think it is the 8th year of its support. Thank you for your attention.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Luba. There you have an impressive story of an institution keeping young people interested and motivated. I thought it was interesting that the one word that appeared in both presentations was the word to connect. This role of connecting, facilitating, bridging, bringing people together as something so powerful that community foundations can become engaged in. I can see there are a number of questions on the screen. We've got 15 minutes left. If anyone has a burning question that they would like to ask directly, please, you can press that little hand icon. Otherwise, I will pick some of the written questions and I'll ask Anderson and Luba to respond to those. So while you're thinking about your burning questions, a question for you, Luba, about how the Community Foundation, what some of the lessons that have been learnt by the young philanthropists, have those lessons been brought into the Community Foundation in other aspects of its work? And has that happened equally the other way around, where you've learnt something in one aspect of your work which you've managed to kind of introduce to the youth work? How has that worked?
Very quickly, I will answer. I must say we teach from young people, they teach from us. It is mutual process. I really, very often I am impressed by their, for example, transparent attitude to everything, how they are responsible when they decide about grants, how they are enthusiastic about cooperations. So we really try to give them our values, and I am sure they give us a lot of, because they are very, very motivated, and the feeling that we give them something, and they are very grateful to receive our support, what is very, very impressive. So they are really good partners. They are not like they are our young volunteers. They are our partners, and from year to year, we see a lot of, good examples which we can learn from them.
That's great. I think that's, in a lot of the work that we've been doing with some of our, well, most of our grant partners, this issue of trust and weak institutions and people not trusting institutions, that power of young people, as you said, modeling this transparent and responsible behavior as a way of demonstrating that it needn't be based on distrust and ineffectiveness and corruption, I think is such a powerful tool. Thank you. I'm going to turn, I can see that Roisin from Grantcraft has got a question. So I'm going to unmute you, Roisin, for a second. Okay, what did you want to ask?
I also put my question in the chat. Basically, I would love to hear from the speakers. There are many youth volunteer programs all over the world, successful or less so. In your case, what is different in your program compared to the other programs in your region or city?
I think we differ with this grant making. We had the opportunity to meet a lot of programs, young people who provide programs which are more oriented in civic participation and active participation. But what we do differently, I think, is that except of civil participation, our young people provide own grant making programs. So they offer grants. I think it's a little bit, it is the model of Youth Bank, but a lot of youth, other organizations in Slovakia and in our region is oriented more in organizing of events or organizing of, I don't know, activities which are not joined with grant making.
Okay.
We differ with this grant making.
Thanks, Luba. So civic participation through grant making is a key thing that Luba's identified. What about you, Anderson?
Yeah, this is a key question we ask ourselves every time we are planning something to do when we are talking about these public youngsters. And we decided to go to the culture of philanthropy, the culture of giving, which is different than what other partners such as IESEC and Centro Cultural and organizations that are working here in Florianópolis are doing, which is that direct projects like or professional training or citizenship training, this kind of very important work. So what we can contribute is the reflection part, as how can I how can I give, and how can I trust the organizations that are already there? How can I avoid to compete with those organizations that are already doing a good work? So we have here in this region organizations that are working with youngsters for 150 years. They are doing an amazing work. How can all the youngsters support those organizations? And how can us, as a community foundation, could facilitate this process? And we decided that the game would be a good shot in inspiring youngsters by showing them how does it work, how an organization works, how these institutions are doing what they do, what are their needs, and how you can be an agent of change. If you don't have time, or it's not the time of your life for you to start something, some initiative, which will bring also costs, how can you help what's already there and bring innovation to that? So we are going in that direction, like the culture of philanthropy, of contribution. And as youngsters not always have money, and usually they don't have, a good resource would be volunteer time. So we have partners that work with that, and we are very close to help these partners also to talk with this audience and help them to contribute somehow, and most of all acquire this culture of being someone that contributes, that makes, has a responsibility about the future we are building for the community.
Great, thank you. I'm going to ask for one more question from the floor. I think it's from Ghana, Emmanuel, and then we'll just go quickly through a last couple of questions before we wind up. But if you've asked a question and we haven't answered it, don't worry. I'm going to go back after the webinar to Luba and Anderson and get their answers, and it'll all be part of our write-up. So, Emmanuel, I'm going to unmute you. What would you like to ask?
Hello, good evening, young people. I want to ask Rebecca a question. Rebecca, what is the key factor to your success in going over your setbacks, in how you want to, whilst you connect, you facilitate, you reach out to young people in bringing them together? Just give me some key factors that has been your success in all these maybe setbacks in doing so.
Well,
Thanks, Emmanuel.
Thank you for question. I think the first is what I feel within this long time. It's very important to believe first your organization, and then young people are very sensitive. They very quickly discover your personality. So personal example, personal motivation, personal enthusiasm. It's the key what we use with cooperation with young people. Young people are very sensitive. They are able to discover any you know, anything what is not good for them. So we try to be very, very open to them and very transparent, and in one sentence to say, I love them. It means first is my personal motivation. And the second what we use for the recruitment is we try to give them space space for their ideas, for their projects. We try to really give them the feeling they are responsible for their programs. They are responsible for their relations. And if they will have a good idea, we help them to provide supporting, we help them to provide organizing, but ideas should be from them. So is the second, and the third is this informal education. As I mentioned, we try to keep them motivated with trainings, team buildings, meetings, so be in contact with them, you know, every year and the whole year, all 4 seasons.
That's great. I think you can hear from Luba's voice and her words, this idea of love and passion and caring is, you know, so fundamental in building up trusting relations with people and showing that you're serious about working with them. We've got about 3 minutes left. Now, there are all sorts of questions like, is Connector under open license? How much did it cost? Have you thought about using it as a strategy for doing grant making? Wow, gosh, suddenly all the questions are coming racing in. So I'm going to ask one question to Anderson and then one to Luba, and then we're going to wind up. So quick responses. Anderson, has Connector been done by anyone else, that type of program, and is it something that could be looked at as sort of, has it got an open license, or are other people doing this kind of thing?
Yeah, there's a huge movement on gamification, and there is an American institution called Games for Change, and they develop or they are a hub of several initiatives which are try to gamify social issues and then helping the player to understand them better and so on. What Connector does different is to be a very local game, which can be a model to be replicated in the sense like you can find out a partner, as we found here, a programming partner, and they would do something in the same way but more identified with your region. And this is we are bringing that's different. But the game is a tool for the program. It's not the program per se. So the idea is through the game, and that's why it's important to have local players, local people playing the game, to create a network of people that are receiving that input about civic engagement and bring them to work in offline initiatives, engage in offline works that will promote visible, it goes beyond cyber activism.
Sure.
This is the difference about Connector.
Okay, great.
So one at the model, and yeah.
That's fantastic, Anderson. Thank you. Very quickly, Luba and Anderson, if there's one lesson that you would like to share with your colleagues on the line about what has and hasn't worked about working with young people through a community foundation, if there's something that springs to mind, what would it be? Luba?
Yeah, I hope I hear you. Okay, listen.
One final closing bit of wisdom for our...
Final closing recommendation. Okay, so as I said, I think my final closing recommendation is, you know, just continue with work of young people because it's incredibly important for your community in the future, and be always open and frank, and all values you believe just transit to these young people and they will give you back, I'm sure.
Brilliant. Thank you. Anderson, any final bits of wisdom or lessons learned?
Yeah, what worked well is we allow ourselves to fail a lot in small tests. So we tested very small with in a small scale and saw, okay, this is not going to work, let's try another thing. So controlled test it has been the best practice for us here. Go try to do in a very small scale, fail, learn from that, but it's not just testing for the sake of testing. Is okay, I'm going to test this to evaluate this, this, and this, and then you go for it and evaluate and correct and do it again and or change what you have in mind to get to the objective you want. And youngsters are very on board to test and give their point of view and give feedbacks. The beta version of Connector was a disaster. We had like pages and pages and pages of very bad feedbacks, which allow us to build a very, very good, pleasant game for you to play. And it's still getting lots of bad feedbacks. And, now we are thinking, how much are we going to invest in the tool? So we are thinking, what do we want as a community foundation, a youth committee, thinking about the situation of our region, what can Connector bring for the youth civic engagement for Florianópolis. That's the point we are now. And we are going to test again a new form of operating, which is the giving circle. And then we are going to see how much investment we are going to put on the game. But keep in mind, the game is it's a tool, and we have to use it smartly.
Fantastic. So don't be afraid to try it, test it, and don't be afraid of failure. Well, we really look forward to seeing how Connector continues to develop. I would really like to thank our two panelists for telling their story. It's quite intimidating doing a webinar if you haven't done one before, because you talk into your computer and you don't know if anyone is out there. So they both did a great job. This webinar is being recorded. We will post all of this onto our YouTube channel through our website, and we will take the many questions that have all flooded in the last few minutes and go back and produce some kind of longer document so that we can write this up so you have a kind of a written resource tool to look at and share with others. So for now, I would like to thank you a pleasant morning, afternoon, evening, whatever you have remaining. We hope to be doing future webinars later in the year, so we will keep you posted about those. But for now, that's all. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks, Anderson. Thanks, Luba.
Thank you also.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.